everybody. This is Serena Spates here with Let's Talk 2020. I am joined by Beatrice Dixon, the Honey Pot Company. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. So I want to just say that I was already so excited for Let's Talk 2020, but when I found out that you were going to be one of the keynote speakers, it just took it to a whole new level. I am so excited. I'm honored and humbled by the fact that you're joining us in September and that you're joining us here today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
No problem. So let's just jump right in. I feel like everybody should know by now what the Honey Pot Company is. You are everywhere, but for those of us out there who may not know, can you tell us a little bit about your company and the products?
So we are a plant-based feminine hygiene company. Pretty much everything that we do revolves around the vagina. So that's why we call ourselves the Honey Pot Company.
I want to talk a little bit about you as a woman that owns her own business, woman-owned, Black-owned business. I heard you talking in another interview about the fact that you're one of 50 Black women who have received over $1 million in venture capital. And what advice would you give to minority-owned businesses that are out there as far as trying to access this capital? I mean, we're going to talk about it more in depth at Let's Talk, but I just wanted, if there was like one thing you could tell people.
Well, you want to make sure, so if you're at the point where your business, where it's time for you to bring in capital, because there's a certain time, right? You don't just start a business and then just go and get money. Some people do. Some people are wickedly successful at that. If you can do that, by all means, do it. But, most people, you want to make sure that your business is having year-over-year growth, right? If it's just a couple percent, that's not really substantial. You want to make sure that you're growing by like 20% or more, right?
Right.
You want to make sure that you have a product that is very consumable. Right. So I can speak to the product business because that's what I do. I don't know technology. I don't know service. Right. But I know product. You want to make sure that you have a product that is extremely consumable. And at this point, that is a necessity just because of all the things that are happening with the economy and, all those types of things. So you don't want to be in a business that's like a thing that people don't need. Right. And if you do make something that people don't necessarily need, but you're being successful, then by all means, again, do your thing. Right. But as you think about needing capital, you also need to understand what is your trajectory? What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? Right. And most importantly, what is your exit strategy? Right. Because if you're raising venture capital or you're raising money in like private equity or something like that, those types of investors are not interested in being on a long ride, right? They either they're investing with their own money, or most of the time they're investing with other high net worth individuals' money, and the high net worth individuals are trusting that those funds are going to execute their capital in places where they're going to see growth. So you have to understand what that mechanism is. And then the last thing I'll say is you want to understand how multiples are gathered in your market, right? So in my market, it can be anywhere from like a 3 to a 10 times multiple. That means if I made $1, then that means my business is worth 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't raise money until you're fucking desperate for it. Because if you're desperate for it, that's gonna come through, and whoever you're pitching to is gonna get that. And they're going to see that this is an opportunity and they don't want to miss on that. But if you're just kind of like teetering and you haven't really figured out your business, it's not time to raise money, because investors are savvy and they're sharks and they will fucking eat you alive if you don't understand what you're doing and how you're talking, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about you guys going into Target. So I want to talk about that just a little bit. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I first came to know about the honey pot. I saw the commercial, like millions of people did. And I loved it. I was just like, wow, this is a cool commercial. But there was some backlash because of it, because of,
Mm-hmm.
you talked about wanting to be an inspiration for little Black girls out there. So can you tell
Mm-hmm.
me a little bit about like how you first came to hear about the backlash that you got and like what your initial thoughts were?
Yeah, I mean, we had started to get, when the commercial came out, we had started to get negative, like emails and negative posts on social media. But, in our mind, you know, our initial reaction was probably what you would have expected. Like, I don't understand. Why would they say that? Why would they think that? We thought to put out a statement, but then we were like, you really can't respond to humans that think that way.
Right.
So, but when it went viral, is when we saw that those people had done a trust pilot. Somebody had put something up on Trustpilot, and their goal was to bring us down. Whatever.
Right.
It's a free world. People can do that shit now, right?
Right.
It's weird, but it's reality. Yeah, and I think it was a Sunday when we saw one of our customers chime in and put up a post, and she actually had a very decent following, so she was like the straw that just broke all of the camel's backs. But she put it up, and then it just went crazy. Those people had given us like a 1 point something star, 2 stars or something like that. But within 8 hours, it was like at 4.8 or 4.9 stars. It completely turned around. It was a press tour, but it was like I don't think that it was a backlash. I think that was the best thing that ever happened to our business. And so I'm
Right.
just so grateful
Right.
to those people and their fantastic racist comments, because I don't give a shit about racism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
That's why I
Yeah.
loved hearing you talk about it. Before because you looked at it in a positive way. I think so. It's so easy nowadays, especially with social media and everything that's happening, to
Mm-hmm.
take the divisive stance or to get caught up in the drama of everything and
Yeah.
in the argument of everything. But I love that your positive outlook on it and the fact that yeah, it did. I feel like it made me want to even research your product more.
Hi, I'm Beatrice Dixon, co-founder and CEO of the Honey Pot Company. I will be at Let's Talk on September 30th.